don't know what's going on. I've got a really bad connection. I might have to reconnect here. See how it goes. I think we're okay. It's holding now. Hello, I'm Rob, and tonight I want to talk about my experiences, more so over the last 12 months or so, with both addiction and depression, and how they are related, obviously, and yeah, how it's affected me in my life and how I've dealt and am dealing with it on a daily basis. Still showing I've got a slow connection. I hope this goes through okay. Hello George, hello Rebecca, nice to see you. I think I'm seeing the comments coming through. I'm trying to put it on my laptop as well, actually. I haven't done that yet, but it doesn't matter. I'll stay on my phone for now. So depression for me has been a strange thing, because I've always questioned, what actually is depression? It's something which is subjective, and how can somebody be like so confident in the diagnosis of what depression is? Some person might think that they're not depressed, and actually they're showing all the symptoms, and if you really look into what the symptoms are and what they mean. So yeah, my viewpoints on what depression is and where us as a species on the earth right now, the majority of the humans, lay on the scale of depression. My views have changed a lot in the last 12 months, and there's another word linked to depression, which is oppression, and I think there is an element of oppression involved, but I think the majority of us are actually depressed through our attachments to our social structures and everything that goes along with that, and how it's become more and more constrained as it's become more and more complex. So there's more health and safety. Everything has got rules and definitions. Excuse me, the dogs are kicking off again. There's always an exciting moment at an important moment, and it just tests to see how you roll through it, I think. Yes, so I believe that our social structures have caused our rate of well-being, where if it's on a scale, then our rate of happiness, where the baseline should be, which is just serene, nice, everything's cool, everything's good. We are actually, through our own constructs, pushing ourselves, oppressing ourselves, being oppressed by people who are manipulating from various angles, I believe. But I don't want to go into a conspiracy theory about this. It's not about that. I think it's just part of evolution. I think it's part of what will happen. Is everything's on a spectrum, and there's going to be manipulation. There's going to be no malice at the same time, just like unconscious oppression, if that makes sense. But yes, I believe that as a species we have been constraining ourselves more and more, and where our general well-being at this present moment in time is well below what the baseline should be. But we've become too used to routines and habits, going about our daily lives, to even notice that we are becoming more and more depressed as all these restrictions are building up on us. But it's something which is being subdued, because we are finding other means of escapism then. And in today's technological advancements, we've got TV, which you can watch the lives of other people to keep you occupied every single day for the rest of your life, on soap operas such as, if for my UK people, Coronation Street and EastEnders, and you can live the lives of other people. So it's like an escapism, going home every night watching these programs, and also watching the news programs, which are generally fear-based. And fear is a low vibing energy. Fear is like, it keeps you low. So by a combination of all this addictive programming, including all computer games. Everything is cool now, isn't it? There's so much fun you can have just by sitting at home, and we've just become comfortable with that. But the fear-based media is keeping us below our baseline, so we are being like oppressed. And whether that is, as I say, a subconscious thing or if it's manipulation involved, and I think there's an element of both. So depression is kind of widespread amongst us. We just don't realise it. But there are some people who try to fight it because they think that it's not normal to be that way. And those people are few and far between. A lot of these people exist on this group, and I think, well, actually all the people on this group, the practitioners especially, are like fully awakened to these things that I'm saying, which is just, it's kind of truth. It really is. So I can't remember where I was going. I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. I've got dogs in here, I have, and one of them is trying to get settled in a bed. Her name is Sandy, and I say a bed. It's actually my clothes wash pile. I'm going to show you quickly. It's she's a really old little dog, and she was just spinning round and round in circles trying to get settled. And I think she was like reflecting off my thought processes. Anyway. Oh, Dix, Paul, how are we doing, mate? You alright? Nice to see you online. Hope you're enjoying. Yeah, so anyway, I believe that we are being depressed as a society, and there are a few people that try to break free of that depression. These people are usually people who have had awakening experiences of their own in some kind of way, whether it be like a bad accident, a traumatic experience, a deep depression, things that kind of make you question your own reality and go deep within yourself. I just had an overwhelming wave of sadness then for some reason, and it wasn't my own because I didn't have that feeling amongst me then, but well, maybe it was. I was resonating off it too. I just felt that energy. That was very strong. Yeah, some people have managed to break free of the thought process behind why we're depressed, and it's actually it's like a mental unchaining, a mental unslavery from, because it makes you question everything and everything. Everything that you previously thought was real because you got taught it by your parents and your teachers, people of authority who made up, these rules that we've chained ourselves by, our societal norms. What is classed as normal? Dress in a certain way, react in a certain way, act in a certain way, not singing and dancing down the street because that would look like you're a bit crazy, or they're on drugs or something, aren't they? We've tied ourselves to all these binding agents of tribalism, I suppose, and it makes you question all this stuff. And for me, the most profound experiences that I've had, which have made me question, and somehow, whether it be through my physical walking around day to day or through channeling deep within myself, have given me the biggest answers, the most profound experiences of my life have been what shamans would refer to as plant medicine. I got into a deep depression last year, It was after my fiance left me, and I went to one of the darkest places that I've ever been in, and I just gave up on myself. I thought, you know, at my age, I've got to start my life yet again. So I think relationships are very important, especially, you know, everybody wants somebody who's close, a friend that it can resonate off the most and have that strong connection with. So it's like, I just gave up caring about myself, really. And yeah, I'd tried psychedelic drugs before. I just want to add to this again, this is all purely my experiences. This has nothing to do with Ganesh Yomi, okay? I don't want to get anybody in trouble by saying things that I shouldn't say, so I'll keep it as clean but as raw as possible, okay? Because it's not about, it's about sharing my experience, and I think it's very important that people can hear what I've got to say, because there's very fine lines between addiction and curiosity, and they do cross over quite strongly. But when something shows you things that is so profound that it makes you question everything you've ever believed in, you do become curious about what else it can show you. And when you go into these experiences with an intent and a curiosity, a positive curiosity, they can show you so much about what reality really is. And I was finding that I was having experiences happen to me that I'd never experienced before, like energy centers kind of going back into alignment within myself, and I suddenly find that I've got amazing balance, and I can feel like wobbling, but it's like this pulsing energy that's going through me. And that was a physical experience that I had. And I researched what these energy centers are after having the experience, and I find it's all about chakras. And that, for me then, I realized that for whatever reason, having these profound experiences was allowing me to understand lessons, I suppose, about myself. And as that was happening, my chakras were coming into alignment, and I could feel it physically. And then I do the research afterwards, and it's like it's talking about things that have been talked about for thousands of years by Eastern people. Generally, us in the West have forgotten about what spirit is. I think it's some woo-woo stuff. It's our mental side, basically. It's the stuff that's inside us. Our physical reality is what we see outside, and that is only a tiny percentage of actually what goes on inside. That's what spirituality is. It's the mental, it's the mind, it's the consciousness. And we've forgotten how important that is to actually project the realities that we want. There's a little kitty cat here. I can't see. Come on. This one, it's only recently started liking me. And she likes to cuddle in the night now. That's a he, sorry, it's not she, this one. I can't even remember its name. The cats, they just keep away sometimes. There's two of them that really like me. One I saved from the dogs last week when the dogs tried to attack it, and I call him Death Wish. And there's another one which is cool. He's got a really bright tigery face, and I call him Battle Cat because he reminds me of He-Man's Battle Cat. So they're my two proper pals. But now this other one has started coming in as well, this light brown one. I've never got on with cats in my past, and that was a belief system. My dad kept pigeons when I was a child, so he hated cats because they attacked his pigeons. So it was always this big anger about cats. It's always about loving dogs. And I grew up with this, and that was kind of one of my mindsets then afterwards. Cats never got on with me, I never got on with cats. With more recent years, my middle son has had cats, and I've had a cat with him, which unfortunately jumped off a balcony. A sad story. That's a different story though. 7 stories. It was bad. And anyway, sorry, I shouldn't laugh because it was really sad. He was a bit of a simple cat. He jumped in the swimming pool 3 times, and we had to save him. And it was, sorry, I digress. Anyway, yes, so recently I've lost my belief about cats and reaffirmed my bond with them, and they like me now. Even the ones I pass in the street, they'll stop for a look and a little peck or whatever, So yes, that's all about belief systems, isn't it? It's how I perceived myself with cats has suddenly changed, how cats perceive me. So it makes me question then, what is the cause and effect here? It's my intent, my energy that I'm projecting that is causing the cats then to either like or dislike me. So I'm the cause. So our beliefs can resonate very strongly with animals. And yeah, it's one of the lessons I've learned. And like I say, these profound experiences, I've been doing research afterwards and finding out that these things are real, but I've actually experienced it within myself, and that's what makes it real, because you're intellectualizing something plus having the experience plus reaffirming it with other people's experiences. And this has happened on so many different levels with my inner self, from having an actual out-of-body experience where I felt my spirit body lifting out of my physical body, and this was actually through meditation with no substances involved. This was me waking up in the morning with intent and actually leaving my body, and then astral projecting to this train platform in the middle of some place. I don't even know what it was, but I can see the person, the girl that turned around and looked at me. I can see that face even now because I was there, which to a lot of people sounds like madness. But when you experience it, it's a subjective thing, and we can all do it if we believe it and if we do use the right methods to do it. It's just having the belief that we can do it that makes it happen. And it's something which I've noticed that you have to keep doing to be able to keep practiced at it with intent. Because if you don't practice it, it goes away slowly, like lucid dreaming does as well. So that is important as well. It's like that's what makes it real is doing the habit, having that repetition with it. And that leads me back to then, like, what is addiction? People see it as doing things which aren't socially acceptable, or are illegal, or are dangerous, and having this urge to do them, this kind of, it's an unconscious, you must do it. It's like, it's a habit. We do it a few times, it becomes a repetition, and then the more the habit goes on, it becomes an addiction. And that is the whole thing, though, because it's not just about the illegal stuff. The socially accepted addictions are just norms. But the addictions that are frowned upon by society, they are what are classed as addictions. I mean, the strongest example, which everybody uses, but I'm going to use it because it is the strongest example, is alcohol. And how much of a repetition does it need to be an addiction? If you drink 2 bottles of whiskey a day, that is, it's probably strongly addicted to alcohol, with high tolerance issues because they've drunk more and more as they've gone along, and then the tolerance builds up. But then there's the people who go to the pub once a week, every week, consistently, or even every day after work for just that 1 pint. It becomes a habit, and then it becomes an addiction because you can't break that habit. It becomes something that you just do. It's an attachment to your reality. It's like this comfort thing. Take me away from another task, a mundane problem that I've got to sort out for that short period of time. So that it is just an addiction as well. It could be going to the gym every single day to get that endorphin rush from exercising hard. But I mean, I agree. Exercise is it's a healthy addiction. It's a very, very healthy addiction. But even that can be taken too far. Muscle builders who then aren't satisfied with natural means, so they start injecting with steroids, and the steroids then become the addiction. It's because they rely on it to keep the mass, otherwise it just turns into fat. And like I say, the socially rejected addictions, such as drugs of whatever type, the illegal ones, and whilst some are it's on a scale as well, the actual safest ones, and this includes the likes of caffeine, cigarettes, alcohol, all the sugar. I think that's on the list as well. I'll have to share a link to it. The safest ones, and they're right on the bottom, are psilocybin, LSD, and other psychedelics. You can't overdose on them. The more you take, the more profound they become, depending on your mindset. When I do take them, back to my personal experience, apologies, because this is what it's about. Everything is subjective, but from my experience, mindset is the most important thing when you're taking these medicines, because they give you a condensed experience of what reality is what I see it as. In the short period of time while you're under the influence, everything becomes hyper exaggerated. So in real time you get the feeling of what manifesting reality feels like. And when I feel like if my emotions are low and I'm going in with a fear, kind of anxious, it doesn't even have to be a fear, a nervous energy, things become dark and low and everything starts to crawl. I can realise that is a dark place, I can change my emotional state to a more happy, listen to some nice music or something, and elevate my state of being to a more positive, curious mindset with more of a loving, feeling emotion, then everything just becomes perfectly clear. And that's where I feel that I can quite clearly channel my higher self. And it's a very profound experience to have for me. They are very subjective about their use, and it hasn't helped that they are looked at as like the rave scene, party drugs, trance scene, all the ones that are trying for escapism. But because of the nature of them, set in your mindset, when you go to a place like that and they're playing some amazing music through massive speakers that have got this vibrance, and there's everybody there wanting to have a good time, because you then have this mindset which resonates with everybody that's there. That's why they give these amazing experiences to people. It's euphoric. But they also work with whatever mindset you choose. So if you go in with an intent of, when I go in with an intent of, as soon as I change that word back to May, I lose my flow. What is that about? I am trying to teach my experience to other people, and if I say you, then I apologise. I do mean we, or me. We're all the same anyway, aren't we? So I'm sure that other people, if they understand my experiences, they could help them in some way, if they ever do encounter these sorts of things. Yeah, so when I go in with the right intent, I can do whatever that intent intends. If I want to learn a lesson about something, you go in with that intent and it enhances the experience for me. But it's looked at as addiction, and I've been called an addict a couple of times, and it really hurts, because I've used these substances and they do just take me to completely, you've got the logic and you've got the spiritual side of the brain then, and it takes me there completely. It's very difficult then to cross the plane back to the rational, logical side, to exist in this material realm, if that makes sense. But once you become aware of it, then you can master the art. It is an art, and it can happen. But it's, again, sorry, I'm digressing again. I've got so many experiences that I want to share with them, because it's magical. It really is, for me. And they have saved me from the mundane hole that I was in when I was completely depressed, because it made me realise that there is a whole other world that I never even thought existed that I can explore. And finding out through, when I started digging down this rabbit hole and hearing about channelers like Bashar and I can't think of his name. You've got Jim Self, he's brilliant, of Mastering Alchemy, Rob Monroe, and people then that I started looking on Facebook groups and finding that there's other people that exist that can do this sort of thing. And it just starts, like I say, it starts confirming the reality that you think that never existed before. You thought these people were crazies. I didn't think they're crazies. They've just got their own version of reality which didn't resonate with mine. Some were very nice people. It's not crazy. I think that's what, it opened my door a little bit easier, I suppose, because I had the open-mindedness. I've always thought that reality is infinite, just through logic, basically. But I didn't think that we, in this form, in this human experience, I didn't think we were able to access parts of our mind that we actually can. There's a lot of studies going into consciousness which aren't being accepted by mainstream science. And there's some really intellectual guys who are seeing consciousness as fundamental. One of them is an Italian called Federico Fagin. He was actually the inventor of the microprocessor, in the technology of the microprocessor. And in the very first IBM, I think it was used, 4500 or something. Anyway, but the technology that is used in our laptops, our phones, our computers, even today, and also the touch screen technology. So he invented these things. He's not a silly guy, and he went deep within himself and had some awakening experiences of his own, a spontaneous experience. And you know, his view on reality is that we do create our own reality. Our consciousness is fundamental. We are the source. We are infinity. You know, that changes a lot for me. When you realize that you are this being that's able to access higher levels of itself. And a video I was watching yesterday, yesterday, by one of the practitioners in here called Rebecca, and she was talking about getting gifted with tools for your experience on this realm, and it's exactly like that. You know, it's like you get gifted these superpowers, it feel like, and it's a real thing. People don't understand that it's a real thing, but it's a real thing, and it's so excited. When I first started experiencing these things, I was like trying to tell my friends and everything. It's like, you don't realise that this can happen, like, you know, but nobody's ready to accept it. And I could see the more and more I was trying to drag people along, I suppose, the more I was looked at as being a little bit abnormal, a little bit crazy maybe. And when I quit my job and decided to follow another path, I was looked upon as proper crazy, an addict. But I knew that it's not that. I know it's not that, because there's other people who are... Oh, sorry, kitty cat. This is Battle Cat, by the way. Isn't he cool? He's really... look at that face. Yes. So it was a brilliant thing, and like I say, it's just... This is what then is. This is... I think the more you become advanced along the spiritual path, the harder it does become, because it gives you more and more testing opportunities, I suppose, to put it that way, to see how we react and how we challenge, how we handle ourselves when these opportunities come along. And I think this is a big mindset thing that I've learned, is as long as our overall focus, our bigger picture focus is there, we don't have to overthink everything throughout our waking life, because that overthinking things, it's kind of trying to manifest, but then when it becomes of too much importance, it doesn't manifest itself in the way that you want it to. So as long as that overall picture is there, I feel that I'm learning to let go a little bit and let things happen, and see the obstacles along the way as just part of the journey, and just traverse them, go around them. And oh, sorry, the cat was trying to get me to finish then. You pressed the finish button. I have rattled on a little bit. What time is it now? Oh, I've done half an hour. Battle Cat. I'll give you some energy, okay? So, yes. I believe the human species is being depressed right now by a product of its own addiction to the material world, where we have to maintain our lifestyles by this thing called money. The only way that we are really taught we can learn money through school is to get good education, get a job, get good salary, and become a slave to our own addictions, to get the good stuff, to get the expensive stuff, to get the, you know, to be a success. So that becomes an addiction in itself, success. And we've tied ourselves to this material world. It's all a creation. It's all, anything that isn't living is something that we've created ourselves, basically. You know, even the rocks probably, they resonate with crystal formations, you know. It's like the earliest form of consciousness, in my opinion, or life as it could be seen as the evolution of, from nothing and everything and onwards. So yes, we've strangled ourselves by our own addictions to the material world, and it's come to the point where it's time to break free of those addictions, because we've come to the technological point within humanity now. I don't know if people have seen, Elon Musk has just introduced his new robots, and it is like an army of robots, which could, in my opinion, be put to really good use. The artificial intelligence, so they self-learn and they can get upgraded as much as possible. Like, do you know what I mean? These are the early forms of what's going to learn. It's like children of the robot world. And they can be utilised in so many different ways, like farms, you know, farming, crops and stuff. And labourer's tasks, driving, I reckon that's the next thing, gimmick that Elon Musk will give, is these Tesla robots driving his Tesla cars and taking like taxis and stuff. It's coming. And then what are we going to do when all our jobs are taken up? So I think there's big changes coming for humanity. And it's going to, with all the chaos that's going on around the world right now, the polarising beliefs from every level, whether it be sport, whether it be choice of music, whether it be tastes, whatever, they're all polarising. And then it comes down to, yeah, like sport events and stuff, and religion, and everything is splitting us between the balance, accepting everything. We're all creators of our own lives, and we choose to create what's good, I hope. But we've lost sight of what is good because we've been attached to our material world too much, and not forgotten how to contact and get in touch with nature and life. And it all talks to us in different ways. And yeah, so that is the real addiction, in my opinion. And I've used things which people call addiction through my own curiosity, my own tenacity, because I am like a dog with a bone sometimes. If I found something which resonates with me, it's always been how I am. I will rinse through until I found out everything I can about it. And that's what I plan to do. And I want to bring people along with me because I want to help other people realise that there is this whole other reality that we can all access. And we're all going to be forced to access it at some point because of the nature of what's happening with the technological world and the global catastrophes. And there's either going to be a natural disaster or a global event that's not going to be so nice, I think, coming up, but I hope it doesn't. And I think things will get better though. Once people realise that there is this whole other way of looking at things, we can make this reality that we've got now a really good place. We've got so much cool stuff that we can make work for itself. And we can help teach our other generations, including the animal species, to evolve their own consciousnesses. And I think that's what our future is. It's going to be teachers and students, because we can all learn something off somebody else who's experienced something else. when life becomes a game of beliefs. And that is the true nature of being the Joker, escaping the game of beliefs, making up your own rules, because it is a game of beliefs. Everything that we perceive, we can make happen in our reality if we believe it strongly enough. I fundamentally believe that. And when you go down the rabbit hole deep enough, things like magic then, the magicians, the mindful magicians, the Derren Browns, the Paul McKennas, the close hand magicians, the David Blaines, what they do is very psychological based. All is mind. They can warp people's reality without them knowing. I fundamentally believe that. And I believe we can all do it. And there are tools out there that we all find. And just all I want to say is, please question everything, including what societal norms are, because there is another way of looking at them. If we open our minds and our hearts enough to see the bigger picture, and I just want to help people. If I can do that, then if I can help anybody, I'll be a happy man, you know. So I'm going to say goodnight for now, because I've cried enough on camera tonight. And just want to say, keep curious. Peace. Good night.